And hello. This is the ever persistent person who probably doesn't like you, but if I'm following you on Twitter, that is a different story. And what I want to talk about this time is telephone security. And I imagine that all of this is fairly elementary. I imagine it is. And I imagine that most people have been utilizing these types of, I don't want to call them services, but technologies. They're technologies. I'm going to go over some technologies that are available on basically any Android phone. And at this point, I'm not quite sure what this little sucker is. It's a Samsung Galaxy 5. At least that's what it was when I got it. I've never rooted it personally. However, I've noticed the evolution of Windows 10 seems to be going toward a Linux-based kernel. And the kernel on here, I'm not exactly sure if it's legit. But the main technologies that concern me are technologies that were actually developed for the military. And as far as I know, they weren't being used against the civilian population until the civilian population got a hold of them and started using them against each other, like strobing, red light flashing, stuff like that, intentionally doing harm. So there's something I want to start out with. It's called near field communications. And I assume everyone knows what it is. I don't know. I learned about it many years ago, and it is a little radio frequency. And I'm not sure. I don't think this one is 111. Okay, 1111. I don't think near field communications is 1111. I'm not sure what the frequency is or the number. The one for Wi-Fi radio is 1111, and they've been using that for a very long time. There's a very morbid church that this woman started, and she was apparently an expert with radio. And they have lovingly, I think, mummified her body at the Foursquare Church and have a lot of pictures of her in her coffin, so that's really nice, I guess. And a lot of pictures of her with her telephones and radios. Apparently, she was a genius with the telephones and radios. I would call her a lo-fi pioneer. And just a little bit of history on telephone. Okay, the whole thing with the Alexander Graham Bell deal isn't totally true. You can basically make a telephone call in different ways. I've read an article not that long ago about the old ranchers using barbed wire to transmit the signal. So I guess it was like a marketing thing. And also just to sort of package it so other people could use it because you had to have some knowledge of, isn't that crazy? The old ranchers using the barbed wire fence for, and then a lady would sit at the kitchen table and switch. So that's been around. But anyway, the first thing is near field communications. And I'm going to tell you, it's got the Android Beam, it's got the S Beam, which sucks, the Galaxy S Beam, and the tap and pay near field communications is turned off. When I turned it off, I felt like I floated down from the sky about 50 miles. These things are, if you think of cell phone, it's not necessarily that they come initially in an irradiated form, but when people decide to use them as a weapon, and it has been cataloged now that they are that to use a phone against someone is oh, looks like I was receiving phone calls for someone else and I'm now rejecting them. I expect that not to be changed. I expect these settings not to be changed, and I know that you can probably figure out who I'm talking about if that's who you are. So the nearby is turned off. Don't come nearby me with your nearby crap. And then screen mirroring, turning that one off. Okay, it's just I don't have enough time in the day to go over every setting over and over and over and over again. But in these applications that don't ever install any of the applications that come on your phone. They're basically like little dumb home stuff. Like a lot of people are like, oh, I want a smart home. I think I'll just, crap up the home and make it like where my home insurance is going to just skyrocket through the roof with all of the problems and all of the injuries and the personal injuries and everything that have occurred at the domicile. I almost said domain, but I meant domicile. And you can do this in the standard mode, or you can add like 5,000 people to your phone. Use your phone more easily with simple home screen layout, straightforward application interactions, and add 9,000 contacts. No, thank you. And accessibility at this point, still a hacking tool. Air Browse is off. I didn't even know that Android had Air Browse. Direct call. Call the contact whose call log message. No. Direct call off. Smart alert off. These are all gesturing motion. It's basically like a stalking, covering screen with hand. These are signals, basically. And if you're to the point of signaling, from what I've heard, the hand swipe, woo! From what I've heard through the old grapevine, is that if you're signaling at this point with your little back channels, which I have blocked off of my firewall, if you're signaling, then there's no hope. As the great Tim Heidecker says, possibly you're too dumb for suicide. If you're signaling and you're a toilet vampire, that means you flush the amount of water or wash down the amount of water every day. That basically, I don't even want to get into that one. It's disgusting. This S voice. I don't do any text voicing or text voice sexting or whatever. I don't do that. I don't boost. I don't do hallucinogenic drugs. I don't take the crack or the methamphetamine that you people are jacked up on all the time. Bath salts or whatever it is you're doing. And check the Wi-Fi radiation. Oddly enough, the radiation for the country limit is 1.2507, and the radiation at this time, which is vacillating, Petco is it's now 789.134%, but it's a 0.7, so that might be right if I have my math right. Settings on the access location GPS. Sure, why not? Country limit. In which country? Oh, Russia? No, Liechtenstein. It's Liechtenstein. I'm going to put it on the U.S. and see what happens. I don't know why it was on Liechtenstein. Oh, because somebody saw Liechtenstein on my Liechtenstein. They saw it on my Twitter account, and they shouldn't have been on it. So they're probably spying to find out why Liechtenstein is now considered a country again, and or has its place in the UN. Refresh rate every 3 seconds. So I'm checking that Wi-Fi radiation. And go to hell. I wasn't talking to anyone. Okay, yeah. Oh, now the radiation all of a sudden in the United States. Okay, apparently the radiation in Liechtenstein's country limit is not doing the right thing. Okay. Because now that I have it in the U.S., the United States, because everybody keeps calling this the UN, and I still live in the United States. I may have to pack a mule. I may have to mule it without wanting to once in a while. That deeper than deep Grand Canyon. But anyway, now that I'm out of Liechtenstein, I'm usually somewhere around the border of Turkey and Syria as far as my networking is concerned, and it feels like it too. I'll tell you that. You can hear the sirens and smell the tainted air. It's terrible, a Sunday, banana Sunday Jubilee. If that's what, I don't think that's what they're called. I made that up. And then set Microsoft Launcher as your default launcher and superpower your phone. Sorry, something went wrong. Please try again, because I'm sure someone already jacked that. And then I've got this Wi-Fi trying to come on, and I said I already fucking turned it off. I'm going to take Tumblr right off of here because it's causing too much. A lot of the people around here they get overly excited about anything I do, or any of, let's see, these motion. Okay, yeah, all the gesturing is turned off. The air view is turned off. The near field communications are turned off. Let's see, accessories. Who knows? Stereo audio output. Just, yeah, that's fine. I don't want surround sound, for God's sake. You don't want those fake sound effects that just, you can hear a sound. It sounds like it's gooped up on an invisible wall. Like you can almost pinpoint it. Some people say I have the echolocation, but I think anybody could hear this because it hurts. And then the calendar, hopefully I don't have anybody's 0 day or their birthday. Hide declined events. No. Show week numbers. AccuWeather, no way. Lock time zone, yes. We don't need to be swirling around the globe or wherever. Notification sound, on time. Let's change that from on time to knock, knock, hint, hint, knock, knock. That's an old one from back in the day when people actually had a protocol. I'm dealing with basically the scum of the earth right now. Never had a group like this come through. Sync via Wi-Fi only. Fuck that. Tag buddy off, face tag off. I don't use any of that. I don't need that. No one, I don't need it. Maybe the younger priority sender, no. Push messages, no. Vibrate, yeah, no. No vibrate on my phone. Thank you. Delete old messages. 1,000 text messages. Holy stramoly. See, I don't let anyone text with me except for my exes. Just go ask the exes. Safe mode. Allow access to all links. No. Potential threat alerts on. So I'm taking off all social networking off of here. It looks like someone's pretending, like maybe even someone in my family is pretending to be a date for me. It's pretty gross. Okay, just because you live in Arkansas doesn't mean you have to, screen mirroring allows you to wirelessly connect your phone to other devices. Well, turn it off. Connecting to a smart TV, I don't want that. I don't even know how to turn on a regular TV. I am missing the X-Files because I don't know how to turn on the Fox network on the TV, because you have to do the whole DVR thing, and it hurts me to not be able to watch the X-Files. That sucks. The one show that I would be watching right now, if I could learn how to use a TV that still had a red hot blue flame freeze on the DVR, it would be the X-Files. Easy mode. Update your phone. Update your phone. Nope. No can do. Quick edit settings. More info. So basically this is what ways that other people take control of your phone, or even take a chunk of Bluehost, web hosting, and just start their own company. If you still consider yourself a Christian, you were at one point, I would like to remind you of the 10 Commandments. And maybe that will help ground you back into what is actually acceptable. If it comes down to it, post them back at the courthouse again so people remember that these are the basics. If you're a Christian out there who's wondering, is it okay to steal? Is it okay to sodomize people, innocent people, if you're a Christian in a church? No, it is not. The 10 Commandments. Let's just go over those. We'll start as a little starter kit for ethics. If that's none of this Judeo-Christian shit, that's just something that Christians say to make it sound like they accept Jewish people. This is most definitely a Christian nation. It needs to, they trusted them too much and now they're just out of control. They're just hillbilly 10 commandments. Maybe this, maybe this on eBay. Ain't but one God, honor ye your ma and pa. No telling tales or gossiping. Get your hide to Sunday meeting. Ain't nothing come before the Lord. No fooling with another feller's gal. No killing except for critters. Quit. Okay, let's try like a regular. I just an already botched list of the commandments, which there's way more than 10. Okay, thou shalt not have no other gods before. It says me, but I don't know what that means. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Shouldn't it say thou shalt have no other gods before God? I don't know. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images. Thou shalt not take the Lord's name in vain. And my sister has a really good definition of that. If you are out there and you're telling people you're a Christian, if you haven't, if you're telling people that and you're behaving like Ted Bundy or Charles Manson or Jim Jones, that is taking the Lord's name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. Now, that means what? Don't do a bunch of Groupon prayer messages that actually give someone a stroke or a coronary or a DVT. Honor thy father and mother. Okay. Thou shalt not kill. Number 6. Thou shalt not kill. Skip the adultery one. If it's the regular kind of adultery, that pales in comparison to the other stuff. I would say thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness. Take responsibility for your actions. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, wife, or possessions, or husband or wife, or kids. Don't covet, Don't just sit there and just cling on and on. I think that's a kind of like an old-timey, like, don't stalk people kind of thing. Don't covet it. Okay, anyway, that's Cheerful Sherry's little message for the night with the 10 Commandments. And I did recover from the coffee spill. I'm drinking my coffee out of a little bell jar. And I had talked about tempered glass a little bit in one of my vlogs, monovlogs. And all of a sudden I was getting a filter on Photoshop that said tempered glass. And I was like, well, that's kind of a little bit too intimate for me. I don't need that kind of a catered, personalized version of Photoshop, as if there were someone out there trying to just bend over back. And no, it's not Sheryl Crow. All right. I'm so sick of people saying that name to me.